Alright, so I'm gonna try to hook me. Go to the list.
On my worst days, you can never get rid of me. Yeah. Hold up. Hey, if you wanna test me, you can get it. Got no time for the gimmicks. I ain't gonna play with you. I'm a beast in the game. Gonna remember my name. I can never be tame. We are not the same. The trip, yeah, drip off my chain. You know I'ma make your head bang. I do it for my hometown, DC, Northeast. Where them gorillas be? Do you think that you're ready for me? Cause I know that I'm ready for you. You can never, you can never, you can never. Ay. Do you think that you're ready for me? Cause I know that I'm ready for you. You can never. Man, y'all ain't ready for it. Welcome to the ozone. Hey, any, many, money, mo. Catch a hater by the throat. Apply the pressure, don't let them go. Any, many, money, mo. I know you on my spot, but you cannot have it. Just stay on the bench, cause I am the captain. Hey, I can never fall. Timber, I'm a god, I'm a goat. I'll forever be dope. Hold up. I can never fall. Timber, I'm a god, I'm a goat. I'll forever be dope. All you haters come together like a symphony. You don't wanna end up on the news as a tragedy. I'm my own enemy. On my worst days, you can never get rid of me. On my worst days, you can never get rid of me. I'm my own enemy. On my worst days, you can never get rid of me. On my worst days, you can never get rid of me. Yeah. Hold up. Hey, if you wanna test me, you can get it. Got no time for the gimmicks. I ain't gonna play with you. I'm a beast in the game. Gonna remember my name. I can never be tame. We are not the same. The trip, yeah, drip off my chain. You know I'ma make your head bang. I do it for my hometown, DC, Northeast. Where them gorillas be? Do you think that you're ready for me? Cause I know that I'm ready for you. You can never, you can never, you can never. Ay. Do you think that you're ready for me? Cause I know that I'm ready for you. You can never. Man, y'all ain't ready for it. Welcome to the ozone. Hey, any, many, money, mo. Catch a hater by the throat. Apply the pressure, don't let them go. Any, many, money, mo. I know you on my spot, but you cannot have it. Just stay on the bench, cause I am the captain. Hey, I can never fall. Timber, I'm a god, I'm a goat. I'll forever be.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Rural Ramble. I'm your host, Steve News, back in the studio. Brian Resner in Florida. Rich Quick, what's up, man?
Hello. Did you miss me? That's a silly question. Of course you did.
Last time I seen you, well, I didn't see you, but you was posting, you were at the All Elite rally.
I was, and it was.
Was it turnt?
Oh, it was.
I bet
It was very turnt. Yeah, it was phenomenal. Yeah.
Brian, are you okay over there, buddy? You look kind of frozen over here.
Frozen?
Yeah.
Let it go, let it go.
That's okay. That's a good picture of him. Just leave that up. You look very presidential.
I think maybe you get the Facebook and the Instagram's working again since you looking all presidential over there.
No, look, can I just take a second while you're trying to unfreeze Rez?
There we go.
All right, here we go. Listen, the one thing you don't want to do in life is to turn into that very thing that you hate, that you despise. I have. For months now, I have said that Baron Corbin looks like a manager at a Hot Topic. I look like a regional manager of a Hot Topic tonight. I look like I'm Baron Corbin's boss, and not in a good kind of way.
That's great. So we are on YouTube tonight, guys. This is the first time we went live to YouTube. Facebook,
Moving up in the world.
Facebook's down. Brian, you're still having difficulties over there, brother. You good?
A little bit. I'm working it out. What's up?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
It looks nice and warm down there in Florida.
Oh, it's nice and warm.
It's not bad here in West Virginia. It's we're getting there.
About 55.
Yeah, we're getting there.
I mean, weather-wise, it's still bad. It's West Virginia.
Right.
But,
Weather-wise, it's...
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that the regional manager of Hot Topic would still have some really big gauges in their ears. So I think you're safe, Steve.
Yeah, okay.
He's got them. I just had to edit them out for the show.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about wrestling, not Hot Topics. That's a good point, though, Steve.
Yes.
But we got a lot to get to tonight. Rich Quick's back with us. Derek, I guess he still is not okay with me singing on the show. I thought he'd forgiven me, but he's not here tonight.
Every time he thinks I'm showing up,
I think he's worried about it.
I think he's worried about it, too.
But anyway, let's go ahead and get to it. We're going to talk about, like we always do, we're going to start by talking with about the pros and the cons in the wrestling world for the last week. Brian, you're froze again, buddy. Do me a solid. I don't know what's going on. Hang up and call us right back, and we'll see if we can fix you that way. 10-4?
Okay. All right. So
pros and cons.
Who's going to start this
pros
thing?
And cons. Well, I was going to let Brian start, but since he's...
Let it go.
That is a good picture, too. Looks deep in thought.
He's frozen.
He is.
There he is.
He's back again. Hi, Brian. You all right? You good?
Hi.
Hey, John Ward done follows us over to the YouTube. Appreciate it, buddy.
That's awesome.
We tried to make an announcement on Facebook that we were coming to YouTube tonight.
But none of us could
Facebook's
post
not
anything.
working. So we'll see what happens.
I'm going to text 5 of my friends during the break and see if I can.
Right. Can you guys see us there?
Right.
I'm going to do the noble thing, though, even though you've given me a hard time on more than one occasion, Rich. Since you haven't been here in a long time, I'm going to let you start tonight.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Bravo, Rich.
You're a gentleman and a lady. All right, now, pros or cons, which one you want?
I'll even let you choose which one you'll start with.
Well, seeing as how it's me, and I do love the negativity, I'll start with cons.
I like your hat, by the way.
Thank you. It's nicer than yours.
Yeah, mine's yeah.
Yeah, okay.
As you were.
Now, I'll start with the con of the week. Now, my con was the main event of Fastlane. Now, I would like to start a new segment on this show at some point of whose career has WWE buried this week. Okay? Now, everybody loved Kofi. Everybody wants Kofi. That's cool. Do your thing. But how horrible it was of WWE and unfair. It was horrible, unfair, and slanderous even to put Mustafa Ali in that position. You remember that time when Rey Mysterio was number 30 in the Royal Rumble and people were like, "Aw."
That was the same year that Batista was a good guy and he just got shit on because...
Exactly, because people wanted Daniel Bryan.
Exactly.
Now, everybody wants Kofi, so Kofi's not in it. And I'm sure we'll get to that later. I don't know what's going on with that. But then the big surprise was Mustafa Ali, and everybody went, oh, well, okay, I guess. And it did him no favors, did not get him over at all, and it was disappointing for me because yes, he was supposed to be in that spot, but sometimes you get hurt, you get put on the sidetrack, and I feel they just said, no, we'll just put him back into where he was supposed to be. And it didn't work for me.
I'm on. This don't happen often, Rich, but I was on the fence on what con I was going to throw out. That was actually one of mine too, because like you said, it done him no favors at all. And I'm kind of wondering if it did on purpose, so he would, because when he come up, everybody's like, "All right, this guy's awesome. He's great. We push him. Fans love him. It's great." I wonder if that's the machine's way of saying, "No, calm down there, little buddy.
Well, I mean,
know your place."
He was supposed to be in that Kofi spot.
Sure, yeah.
But he got hurt.
Right.
And then Kofi took the spot. And then sometimes, hey, Kofi organically got
spot?
over.
My spot,
My dog spot.
my liver spot.
I'm having the strangest feeling of deja vu right now, Steve. What was it? We like 4 times. We went
Four
back to that
times
joke.
we went Arn Anderson last week.
You're right.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
You're right, Rich, and it's unfortunate for Mustafa Ali because he's great. But like you said, they did him no favors there because it's not a win-win situation at all.
You know, if Mustafa went to the elimination chamber and did what Kofi did, I'd have been fine with the 3-way title match.
Absolutely.
At Fastlane. But you know, you justify. You know,
Even it's kind of the same thing that with Kevin Owens. I feel like his return was crapped on in a lot of ways because he took Kofi's spot. You know.
Well, I don't think he took Kofi's spot.
Well, you know what I mean.
Well,
you know what I mean.
Technically, he did, but if they're trying to get somebody over, then get him over.
see,
Don't
here's
make
the thing.
two.
Vince doesn't know what the WWE Universe wants, and that's the problem. Kofi got over being Kofi and being awesome, and Vince can't process somebody like Kofi getting over on his own abilities. So it totally monkeys up the works, and
Does the
like
name,
you said,
Zack Ryder ring a bell? It's very similar there, you know.
Or
got himself over.
or back to Daniel Bryan. kind of thing.
sure.
But yes, yeah, you're right, Stephen. It's just pick one, pick something, and like it seemed to Vince does not like it if you get over on your own.
How about just let it happen organically? You know, how about just let the WWE Universe decide? Oh, I loved Kofi winning the gauntlet match and getting into the Elimination Chamber. And then I like the way he performed in the Elimination Chamber so much that Kofi Mania is going to run wild. You know, I think the big problem with Vince is if he doesn't know how to market it, make $1 off of some merch, then, you know, he'll do a course correction and get it back to where it was supposed to be.
I mean, I don't think anybody realistically thought Kofi Kingston was going to win the title. Nobody really thought.
I'm not going to lie. I was like Brian. I was very that childlike aura that I had when I was a child. Like Brian said last week, it was there.
Sure.
I didn't think he was going to win, but I was like, there's no way they're going to.
Right. He might.
Sure.
Right.
But yeah,
Amazing, Brian. How do you feel about this? Do you agree with Mr. Quick?
Well, I do to an extent. I know that it definitely didn't do Mustafa Ali any favors. I've seen something online where if you watch the match and you turn on the closed caption, they turn the "We Want Kofi's" into "We Love Ali's." That's true. But I don't think it hurt Kevin Owen any though. Whenever Kevin Owen took Kofi's spot, I think that everybody was upset. But as soon as they found out it was Kevin Owen, the whole crowd popped. So, and that's something that we didn't see when Daniel Bryan, Daniel Bryan single-handedly killed Roman Reigns' career and Batista's comeback in 2 years.
Yep.
That did not happen with Kevin Owen. That's like what we talked about last week where, they gave it to somebody who can absorb that hate. Like Kevin Owens can take a situation like that, absorb that heat, and turn it out nuclear. Yeah, and that's what happened with Kevin Owens.
I think Ali's too early in his career though to be able to do that, Brian. I couldn't agree with you more, Rich. That it's so unfair to a young guy like Ali getting thrust into that because you're right, Brian.
Oh no. Right? I don't think Ali is the man to do that.
That'd be the first most recognizable athlete,
first most recognizable Ali,
Muhammad Ali, cousin to Mustafa Ali.
No, they definitely set fire to Ali right there. I mean, it was a bad situation for him, and it was pointless. There was
he
no
on SmackDown last night?
No,
he wasn't. Was he?
No, he was. He wasn't. Was it?
No.
He was on Raw on Monday.
I think the only way they could save it. I think the only way they could save it next week in that gauntlet match, have him turn heel and cost
Cost
Kofi
Kofi the match.
But
you would set up that'd be a great undercard match.
Yeah.
at Mania. I mean, if you want to go that route, like, I got hurt and you took my spot.
Well, then they would have a personal issue.
Yes, then they got a personal issue. But Vince, if you're watching, I'm available cheaper than some of the guys that you got.
Brian, was that your con, or do you have something else in mind, my friend?
No, I have something else in mind.
Well,
all right.
I guess the internet gods didn't want to talk to you about
May
it.
I?
Sure, might as well.
My con this week is what I'm calling the boomerang effect. And that is, 2 weeks ago, I thought Triple H cut one of the best promos that I had seen in ages. When he came out there using Ric Flair's real name, and calling Dave Bautista on the stuff. I thought that was one of the best promos that I had seen.
It was good.
So Batista shows up in Pittsburgh, and I tweeted last night that the security guards that surrounded him should have had the Sergeant Slaughter face shields, because all I saw for 5 or 10 minutes was Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Dave Bautista spitting on each. Give me what I want. They sounded like two girls at Gilbert Jr.
Guardians of the Independence?
Yes, the Guardian of the Independence.
That was a funny line.
That was a funny line, but it was.
That was your con?
That was my con. Was Dave Bautista and Triple H spitting at one another for 5 minutes. I've seen better yelling matches in the Gilbert Junior High hallways between two girls.
In there, Steve, because this was my con of the week also, but it wasn't so much the back and forth. It was the spitting on Batista's part, but more importantly, it was give me what I want. Give me what I want. We had give me what I want for 3 minutes before everybody knew what the hell he was talking about.
Well, everybody knew what he was talking about, but he couldn't
did you?
relate.
I thought maybe he's wanting to Go ahead, what?
Well, that was the thing is everybody knew what he was talking about, but he relayed it so terribly that we forgot.
Triple H was like, no, I'm not giving you what you want. Like a little kid.
It was like, it was. I mean, well, honestly, Triple H didn't know what to do at that point. Triple H is the only thing that saved that whole thing, and I'm sure in Triple H's mind, he was like, what is he doing? He's ruining this whole thing the whole time.
I almost worked it this week. I was going to get some water in my mouth, and I was going to clear off in front of me here on the desk, and I was going to give me what I want and spit all over the place.
I tweeted Dave Bautista with the Sergeant, with the DX, a gif of DX with the windshield wiper face shields.
That's great.
On, and I said, great, you could make it to the Steel City, Dave, with the windshield wipers on it when they talk to Sergeant Slaughter.
So, Brian, we lost you there. We've got our cons out of the way now. What is your con? Is it one of those or something different?
My con comes from the news. And my con is what we talked about right before the show went on the air, which is that the WWE has lost faith in EC3. I believe that they have lost faith in EC3 for the wrong reasons. They're not, they're just. There's so many things you could do with EC3. EC3 is so talented. Unless there's an attitude issue, which I really don't think there is. Unless there's an attitude issue backstage, I don't understand why you would want to give this guy back to Impact or give him to AEW or put him in a position where he can hurt you. Because I'm telling you, EC3 is talent. He has been talent for a long time, and if you can't write something for EC3, then you need to hang up writing wrestling, because that he is gold. And that brings me back to, the trick there is, why don't you bring in Dixie Carter and let Dixie Carter be his manager as the rich aunt? Something, anything. You could do anything with EC3. Now we're going to job him out before Raw comes on to Tyler Breeze, who we've been and I love Tyler Breeze. Don't get me wrong. Tyler Breeze is another guy who's being totally underutilized. But to put him over EC3 after you've basically destroyed Tyler Breeze, I just don't understand. I don't get it. And why did you put why did you put him over Dean Ambrose if you weren't going to do anything with him? Like,
because
what changed?
Ambrose is on his way out, allegedly.
That's a work.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure, man. I'm still uncertain about that. I love it. I love it, Rich.
You are their target audience.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's me. They're feeding me.
Yeah.
I'm over here like Ryback. Feed me more.
Right.
Feed me more.
Well, I agree with you, Resner. And it's just he's just one of many people that they have misused. And I understand it. It's business. There's competition. They buy up everybody. Do you see where I don't know why I was going. See, your boy Robbie E got hired.
You mean Robert Strauss?
Yeah,
he did. And you know what, Robbie?
And he's already dead, probably. So,
I mean, he's super talented. You know, the big thing is, like, you've got so many people that are coming from TNA, aka Impact, that you could use to take those spots. You're talking about like, oh, we don't have a strong heel. Yes, you do. He's just busy tagging with Chad Gable.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a super face. Yes, you do. You've got them there. You're just not utilizing them. They're out there. I mean, like with Chad Gable and Bobby Roode, like Bobby Roode needs to be the top heel in your company. Chad Gable needs to be on 205 Live as competition for your champion. I mean, because can you imagine seeing a championship match with Chad Gable and Buddy Murphy? That would be
Young,
incredible.
we've talked about, and John Ward says a lot of wrestlers are being underutilized. This reminds me of late WCW. In the Monday Night Wars and WCW in about late 97, early 98, just because they could, gobbled up everybody they could. I mean, that freaking Rick Martel had a contract. You know, Rick Martel was a great wrestler. He was an AWA world champion. He's sitting in the back. Lanny Poffo drew a check and didn't even show up. Lanny Poffo drew a check for like 3 years from WCW and didn't even bother driving or flying to any of the shows because he knew he wasn't going to be used. But you had guys like Rick Martel, Lanny Poffo. You had a whole Brutus Beefcake, the disciple.
I don't know if you remember, but Lanny Poffo on the microphone was absolutely incredible as the genius. They could have done something with Lanny Poffo.
Yes, but my point is they had a whole locker room full of talented guys that they weren't. Marty Jannetty was in WCW in like 97 and 98, for Pete's sake, you know? Not even used.
I just got a notification on my phone, guys. I want to share a spoiler with you guys. Triple H has announced at the NXT tapings. Do you guys want to know, or do you guys want to wait and
Go
find
ahead.
out?
tell us.
Decided what they're going to do with the NXT Championship. Aleister Black, Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Matt Riddle had a match, and Ricochet had a match to determine who was going to face Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship at TakeOver. Adam Cole won. So it's going to be Adam Cole.
This is Adam Cole's time.
Absolutely.
If they don't give this to Adam Cole, they're totally. I know they're going to. I don't know why. Why am I even saying that? Adam Cole is your next NXT champion.
Yeah, John Ward, Brad Armstrong, same way. Brad Armstrong's still a great wrestler in the late 90s.
Brad
I mean,
Armstrong
you can just
was the first WCW light heavyweight champion.
Yeah, you can just rattle off the names.
Wasn't he a referee, or was that a different Armstrong?
That was a different.
No, it's Brad Armstrong is the one. You probably remember him from wearing a tie-dyed shirt and having signs in the crowd in WCW.
That's Mikey Whipwreck, isn't it?
No, that's Brad Armstrong in WCW. But Brad Armstrong in early WCW was really awesome. Had some amazing matches with Brian Pillman for the light heavyweight championship, not the cruiserweight, but the light heavyweight championship.
Can we just pause for 1 second here, guys, and acknowledge how professional Brian looks with his microphone and his headpiece?
Yeah, you look like you're a telemarketer.
Supersize me.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
This is actually sponsored by Dave Tyree, the most electrifying man in Florida.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
He hooked this up when I couldn't find my normal headphones. But he's with us here in studio in Florida today.
Gotcha.
Before we come off of the cruiserweight, since I'm talking about cons, and I mentioned the cruiserweight championship, and you talked about Kofi earlier as your con, I want to bring in the fact that at Fastlane, when they sent Kofi to the ring for a WWE title match, and then all of a sudden brought out the bar to destroy him for no reason whatsoever, what they should have done, and this is just my opinion, and I hate to put this in the middle of our pros and cons, but I think you're going to appreciate it, is if Kofi would have went out there and they would have said, you got a WWE title match right now, and that WWE title match would have been a WWE cruiserweight title match. And they would have sent Buddy Murphy and someone else out there to have a three-way for the cruiserweight title. Then Kofi wins the cruiserweight title, and then here comes Vince McMahon with one of his cronies with a scale, weighs Kofi, and strips him because he weighs in at 207.
That's good. I like it.
Yeah,
that would have been better.
Yeah,
Yeah, destroy him by the bar. Let's destroy him with the bar. That made no sense.
All right, guys,
whatsoever.
we've been on cons for 25 minutes. Let's move on to pros. Once again, Rich, welcome back to the studio.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Pros,
I feel so loved. It's strange.
I try.
All right. So my pro, I was going to say I will lump it all together, but my pro is the unbelievable ass whipping that Ronda Rousey gave to Dana Brooke. Like every time I watch Ronda Rousey, I love it.
You know that all I was talking about earlier with Fastlane and with Kofi Kingston and the title? That was not there with Dana Brooke. As soon as she comes out, I was like, yeah, she's about to get her ass.
Yeah, and boy, she did. Like every time I watch Ronda, I just go, that has to hurt.
You know what? She legit looked scared.
Absolutely.
And she legit looked scared. Like, I know what's about to happen, and I know what I'm doing. Yes.
God. And those judo throws, it's one of those things that Ronda is so good and so fast. Dana Brooke, even if she was trying to fight back, it was basically just being in the ring with Brock Lesnar. It's like, you're going to do whatever you want to do to me.
I hate Ronda Rousey as a sports entertainer, as a professional wrestler. I don't think she can cut a promo to save her life.
I like this new Ronda Rousey.
I hate her. I hate her across the board. But that segment with Brooke was hilarious just because of the legit fear, and probably the reason why a guy like me hates Ronda Rousey. I watched her premiere. I was there ringside when she came out at the Royal Rumble in Philly last year. I think they misused her from the start. Had they come out with Ronda Rousey as this initially, like, I'm going to tear the arm off of everybody in the WWE, starting with Stephanie McMahon, and I'm going to break her arm, and then I'm going to break Charlotte's arm, and then I'm going to break every arm in the WWE until I get that title. I'm even going to break your fat arm, Nia Jax. And had she been that from the beginning, she wouldn't have had to talk as much.
Yeah.
But that whole milquetoast, oh, I love you guys, crying.
No.
Why it got to be a fat arm, Steve? Why can't it just be a big arm?
Hey, look, don't blame me. Michael Cole said that Nia Jax and Tamina were the heavy favorites to win the WWE Women's Tag Champions, and I ain't saying nothing Michael Cole didn't already say. They're the heavy favorites in that division.
Well, I agree with you. Now, so that was my pro, but on the grander scale, I think my pro this week is the new influx of how promos are being delivered.
Hang on, did you just think in two pros?
I did. But they connect with each other. I pulled a Covey Cole, right?
You did.
Yeah. All right. So, about the way that promos are being delivered now, because they're being real or giving like real issues, like whether it
shoots, in other words.
Yes.
Now, that's the best way because it makes it believable.
Mm-hmm. Now, like whether it's the Becky Ronda thing, did you saw that with the dick with Travis Brown's head on? Like
that was hilarious.
Like that was hilarious. I'm like, I can't believe I can't believe they did
that. Or
the
social media game, Ronda tweeting Becky's real name. And this dovetails nicely with mine, Rich. Thank you. But Ronda tweeted...
DuckTales. Woo.
Sorry. You were going to sing if it killed you.
Derek's not
Where's
here.
Derek when I needed? But she tweeted Becky's real name and said, I'm going to break your arm and make you... wish the dick that you wish you had or whatever. That's pretty edgy.
And then she comes
stuff.
in with I don't care what the script says. I'm gonna go in there and kick your ass. You know.
Well,
I'm not a big fan of her calling it fake.
That was
a little too far.
That was almost my con this week, but and I called her out on social media. I said your namesake did that 20 years ago when she said Terry, or he said Terry, I just want to go home. So there's nothing really new under the sun, but you got to try to make Ronda Rousey interesting somehow.
Yeah,
and what's interesting. One thing that's interesting, just before you get off that topic, is in that promo, that Facebook promo, she says your arm bar that doesn't even work.
Yeah,
and that brings up something that I'm going to get some heat for saying, and I don't really give a shit. The point of that whole thing is MMA fighters don't understand moves that are not on their list. If I sit on your shoulder and pull your arm back, I can break your arm. Just because it's not on your list of things you learned at the dojo doesn't mean it's not real. That arm bar of Becky Lynch's, if applied, will break will tear your shoulder right apart. And she was like, that arm bar doesn't even work. No, Ronda, you just didn't get taught that arm bar.
But back to what Steve was saying, once Becky does get in there with Ronda, Becky won't have a chance. If it's a shoot, Becky won't have a chance to try that move out. You know what I mean?
That now, what a wrestler was saying, like, I'm sure you're correct, but that's coming from a man who's like actually used a power bomb in a bar fight.
Exactly.
Like, he's really done that,
right?
So he used a sharpshooter in a bar fight for crying out loud.
I sure did. I sure did, and it worked.
The Montreal screw job, honestly.
That's a bunch of screw job.
That sharpshooter saved my life.
Well, okay, so these like work shoot promos, right? And then you got Triple H giving a great promo, bringing out, it's real, okay. And then you can have, and then like AJ Styles and Randy Orton.
That's my pro.
You take it.
All right. I loved last night because they've run with this Randy Orton crazy character for about a decade now. He's just crazy. He followed Triple H to the house or something crazy like that. Hung around with Bray Wyatt. You got to be crazy to do that. Sister Abigail. So Randy Orton was more articulate last night than I have heard him be in a decade. Yeah. And Randy Orton started in 2002 and started bashing.
That long ago?
He started in 2002. And he said, I was here as a rookie. You call this the house AJ built. I was here in 2002. And, man, he just rattled off the years and where he was and what he was doing versus where AJ was and what he was doing. Damn if he didn't drop Dixie Carter's name.
I know.
I about fell out of my recliner. I thought he just said Dixie Carter on WWE television.
Up is down, black is white, cats and dogs living as friends. Like, I thought the world is
had
crazy.
To be Brother Love. I'm telling you, that was Brother Love, or my name's not Steve New. So and then Styles comes out and shoots on Randy's family. The fact that he's always had backup. The only thing could have made it better is if he named Cody specifically and Ted DiBiase Jr.
What happened to him? Where did he go? Did he quit wrestling?
Yeah.
Why?
He quit and he linked up with Jesus, and now he's doing the Jesus
thing. You can hang out with Jesus and wrestle too.
You're supposed to do that at the end of your career, Jesus, like Undertaker and $1 Million Man and Sting Jesus and all those people, Shawn Michaels.
Oh yeah, Jesus is just all right with me.
Speaking of that, it's something that I thought was pretty interesting.
We're jamming over here.
No, we're on YouTube, by the way. We're going to get pulled copyrights.
Too much singing, guys. Derek's never coming back. Here's the point, though, that I found. After The Undertaker did his thing, I've totally decided that wrestlers are like drug addicts. They always end up Christian.
This is a change of subject, guys, but I want to go ahead and give props to
Cornette said, screw you. No, they don't. So Cornette is the exception. As with many things, Cornette would take you to task on that. Yeah. He's still proudly atheist.
Ben Cliff has joined us here on YouTube. Appreciate you coming over, Ben.
Yeah.
I want to give some props real quick. Ben Cliff, John Ward, Mark Scott,
And that's it.
Well, you guys.
Mark Scott agrees with it all.
We always see you guys rambling with us on Facebook. We appreciate you guys coming over to YouTube. I know it was the last.
Oh yeah, and Ben, thank you on my pro. AJ called the RKO a diamond cutter ripoff. I mean, there were so many good little nuggets. But you know what? And let me explain the importance of that. I think it's not two guys bumbling stupid into WrestleMania for a match. You know, they've got legit heat now. You know, I like this a whole lot better than Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and, I'm going to have sex with your wife angle.
Yeah.
That was stupid to me, given the history that we all know that they have. AJ Styles and Randy Orton don't have history, but boy, they sure do now. They trash talked each other, cut each other for real. That promo and that spot set up what I believe is going to be a great WrestleMania match.
Speaking of promos, kind of on the same page that you and Rich are both on, my pro is also in the promo category this week. And it was Xavier Woods and Big E telling Vinnie Mac, hey, this is what's up. This guy deserves it. Just the promo the New Day cut. It was a side of the New Day that I haven't seen in a long time. It wasn't all
no pancakes.
Xavier Woods, he's like, we've been your monkeys pretty much for X amount of time, and this guy deserves this. It was great.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, and more importantly, I think back to the realness of these promos.
Full circle, didn't you?
Yeah, is Vince McMahon talking to Kofi? That seemed to me like a real conversation.
Sure,
I was watching that going, "Ooh, this should probably be behind closed doors."
Yeah,
because he was 100% right.
Absolutely.
Sure.
The only thing I would have liked Vince to add onto that, because what he said was true. Kofi's not a world champion. You don't look at him and go, "Well," what I would have liked him to add, seriously, if anybody's going to be a world champion, Big E. Look at him. Absolutely. And just kind of, but
you could have done that and teased the possible New Day breakup or something like that. That would have been great. You notice the thing that just sort of bubbles under all of that, because we are America and we got problems. That racism. That's nobody had to say it, but it's the thing, and it's one of my favorite quotes. That which is easily understood need not be said. So, it's right there, and that Vince is of that
when
age.
You guys stop giving me a hard time, then I should be concerned.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
That means we've just given up hope altogether on you.
But no, I loved it, and John, I love your pro. I love the New Day interview, but there was just. That race element is there. Nobody said it, but at Vince's age, his race, his wealth, his status, you don't have.
Well, I think Kofi even said something along the lines of you don't let people like me have.
Right. But boy,
that's all you have to say.
Exactly. You don't let people who look like. I think he said who look like me.
Yeah.
With the puffs and.
Hey, Kenny Dunn's here too. What's up, Kenny?
Hey, Kenny.
Bo Diddley, 81, says his pro is Hill Shane returns.
Ooh.
Brian, before we discuss that, what's your pro of the week, my friend?
Well, I wanted to add something to your pro really quick before I go into that. Is with the Kofi. One thing, did you notice that Xavier Woods said the exact line that he said when they formed the New Day? He said, "We no longer wait. Now we take." And that's the first thing he said when they started the New Day.
Well, I didn't know that.
So it went full circle. He said that exact same line again. Jeez. And another thing that I was going to say is obviously SmackDown is still being written by Road Dogg, and he's phoning it in from home or whatever he's doing, because the only thing that ruined that whole thing was when they were like, hey, let's just throw together a stipulation by making him go through a gauntlet of random guys for no reason. If you really wanted to get heat, okay, Kofi, you can have this opportunity, but you're going to have to, and they could have added the Big E comment that you said, Rich, and then said, you got to beat Big E.
Ooh.
Or Big E and Xavier be part of the 5 or the 7 guys.
Finger poke of doom, maybe?
You come up with 7 guys Kofi's got to go through to get to the title match. Xavier and Big E being the last 2.
I mean, I don't know.
That'd be magnificent. Reznor, what are you doing in Florida selling solar panels? You have to be in Stamford, Connecticut, writing shows.
Going down to Full Sail University.
If there was a situation with, if you could have done that promo at the beginning of the show, and then use the entire show to convince Big E that he's the one that should be going for the title and not Kofi.
Yep.
And then do the match as the main event, Kofi versus Big E, to see who becomes the champion with Xavier in the middle. Like, you guys shouldn't be fighting like this. And then you could do a finger poke of doom, or you could do an actual legit match that Kofi wins. Either one.
You could make Xavier the first guy, and while it's still cool, I tell you what would set it up even better. You do the finger poke of doom with Xavier at the beginning, because it's just a joke. He's going to face Xavier first. Then you drop the comment between his first match and his 7th match. All of a sudden, just got real. Big E's now thinking, wow. What are we putting Kofi over for, man? I'm the one that looks the way Vince likes, da-da-da-da-da. Why is this Kofi instead
That's a great point, actually, as you guys are talking about. It's got me thinking. The New Day has been together for a long time. Mm-hmm. They've talked about breaking them up before. This could be the icing on the cake. This would get, if they was to turn Big E heel in this scenario and have Big E and Kofi at WrestleMania, that would make Big E. I mean, if he kills Kofi's momentum and just totally squishes him, says, no, you're not the prototypical guy. And in return, you'll have that white meat baby face with Kofi getting even hotter. You know what I mean? Oh, I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
Well,
all right, well, here's my pro.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No, are you
off.
still here? I forgot about you. All right, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, my pro was that exceptional Falls Count Anywhere match between Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose. That match was on fire. I loved the entire thing. It totally puts over my point that Dean Ambrose leaving is completely a work, because why would they let him compete in a match like that puts him over like that on Raw in the main event if they're just going to let him leave? That was exceptional. I loved seeing him get kicked in the head in that spot. That was great. The only thing that could have made that better is if Drew McIntyre would have kicked the crap out of Renee Young.
Hey, I was about to say, tell me Renee Young. Oh my God!
Did you hear?
Graves later.
Called her fangirl fangirl Sunday night at Fastlane. He said, "Settle down, fangirl."
Yeah.
When the Shield came out there and she marked out all over the place.
I don't know, Brian. I'm not really with you, man. Part of me is feeling like they're just doing something different with this whole Dean Ambrose thing. I think he is legitimately living. I think they wanted to squeeze that last couple dollars out of him.
Well, I'm really glad that I'm really glad that they're getting over on you, so that you can be really excited when you find out that he doesn't leave. That'd be great.
But if he doesn't leave, it doesn't seem like they're building him to anything.
No, I mean, really, they don't.
Well,
they really
but
don't.
I think it's consistent with him leaving, though, because Brian, I disagree with you there. I think if he was staying, they wouldn't have him jobbing. He's jobbing as if he were a Mulkey brother right now. I'm telling you, he looks like the Blue Meanie or something out there.
Yeah,
he is getting jobbed out every week to somebody.
They're working you all. They're working
But
you
he's
all.
getting
That's
jobbed
exactly
out.
how they're doing it.
He's getting jobbed out to good people, though. If he loses to Tyler Breeze next week, things are not looking good.
Hey, Tyler Breeze beat EC3, and EC3 beat Dean Ambrose, so do the math there.
Hey, John's got a point, but Dean's not going anywhere, guys. I promise.
All right, guys, we've been rambling on pros and cons for 45 minutes. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, come back and talk about some other stuff going on in the news. We'll be right back.
Cool.
All right, guys, welcome back. Pros and cons are out of the way. We're going to talk about some other stuff going on in the news. There's a lot going on, but not a lot, really. Jeff Jarrett.
Which one is it? Make up your mind.
There's a lot, but there's not. Does that make sense? There's a lot, but nothing really tickles my fancy. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well,
that makes sense. Jeff Jarrett is now part of the creative team. Maybe he's working with Road Dogg on Tuesdays. Maybe that's what's going on there. I don't know.
That's a horrible idea.
Yeah, I don't like that idea.
Roman Reigns recently.
Who's singing between the two of them?
I don't know. Probably.
I'm Kevin Cole singing. That's who's
Kevin Cole
was me, Austin.
Be my baby.
Do not let you in that idea.
Next week here on the Royal Ramble, my debut single.
Contrary to popular belief, I don't think either one of them can sing at all.
Me?
Even though everyone
Road
Dogg and Jeff Jarrett. Everybody's like, Road Dogg, man, he can sing really good. He's a freaking basic singer at best.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns recently said in an interview that he wouldn't be against an off-season in wrestling. Brian, I know me and you went back and forth a little bit on I can't remember whose post it was, but we talked about it a little bit before.
Casey Mitchum.
Okay, but before I get your take on the matter, how do you gentlemen feel about an off season in wrestling? And before you guys answer that, not just a full fledged off season. What about having 5-10 guys take off at a time for 2 or 3 months, kind of floated in and out?
I don't know, Covey. Maybe if we had territories again.
Right.
Maybe if we had territories again, and a guy could take off 60 or 90 days from one territory to the next.
So you'd be for it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what they used to do in the old days, like the 80s, when a guy went from, if he was going to leave Mid-South and go to Mid-Atlantic, or, go to Dallas and wrestle for the Von Erichs in world class, and then go to the AWA or something like that. If the Road Warriors were, down south and they wanted to go to the AWA or the WWF or whatever, you took 60 or 90 days. Now, I believe part of that was contractual with the NWA, but that's exactly what should happen now. And we were talking about that glut of talent in the WWE. They've got enough talent now where you wouldn't need a quote-unquote off-season for wrestling.
Right.
You just book guys in angles.
Absolutely.
Where 6 months out of the year, some guy's getting a big push and this, that, and the other. You don't have to. They don't have to run WWE this way, with 300 nights out of the year the way that they did in the 90s.
Rich, how do you feel about it?
Well, I think that the option to leave for 60, 90 days, I think if Roman wants to take some time off, more power to you. Roll your motor. Go take 3 months off, but you ain't gonna be making that merchandise money. You're not gonna. So it's like if you would like to take less money to go take a vacation, by all means, that's on you. But I, on the other hand, will stay here and try to get ahead. So because out of sight, out of mind, because Roman can leave for 3 months, come back, and be the biggest thing in the world. But if somebody else, if Mike Kanellis leaves for a week, apparently, and he's nobody anymore. So it's like some people, I think that would be based on your position within the company on whether you could leave.
Before we get your
that's
take,
a great
Brian,
question right
John
there.
Ward says, if that's what's up with Dolph, Bray, and Cena. Well, Cena's making movies. He's still working. But Dolph and Bray, I didn't even think about that. I know Bray's been ready to come back for a while.
I think they're going to repackage Bray, but they just don't really know with
Harris.
what.
We're going to throw him into Lake of Reincarnation?
Again?
Wonderful.
Quick sidebar.
Repackaging Bray is retarded. That shouldn't happen.
Have you been keeping up with Matt Hardy recently?
A little bit.
You see, he brought back Big Money Matt?
I've seen that, yes.
Big Money Matt, baby. So he's just doing whatever he wants to do, and I think it's great.
Brian, how do you feel about this off season, my friend?
First of all, I believe that what Rich Quick said is what they do now. I mean, they 100% give people time off, and they have for years. And if you are burned out and you've been going for a long time, and you say, "Hey, I need some time off," they give you time off. So that's what I think should be done and is being done. And I think that if you believe, I believe that if you believe that there should be an off season, I feel like that's you call up the people who don't need an off season. You don't call up people who want breaks. That's not what this business is or was or ever was about. And if you're gonna take 10 guys and put them on vacation at the same time, that's just bad booking. So instead of doing a bad job at what we love, just do the job you're doing now. And if somebody needs time off, give them time off. I think that and when you say that the smaller guys on the card, maybe they can't do that. Well, why not? I know that Mike Kanellis' vacation hasn't affected his career one bit because it was in the shitter when it started, and it's still in the shitter now.
Real quick before we move on, Ben Cliff says an off season would suck because the good thing about wrestling is it's all year round. When the soccer season finishes, it sucks. When the right season finishes, it sucks. Right season? I'm not sure what you're talking about there, but okay. I know what you're saying. Wrestling being 24/7, 365 is epic, which is great. But back to what Steve said, I'm not saying we take a whole off season off. If what you're saying, Brian, and Rich is correct, and they're actually able to do this, taking off season stuff, whatever, that's fine. It's great. But to expect a man to go and work however many days a year, whatever,
300
days a year is preposterous. And
Really?
Expect him to stay healthy. Absolutely. What other sports does that? And I've played many sports, Brian. I was also a pro wrestler. And the most wear and tear I ever had on my body is when I was a pro wrestler.
Even more than a coal miner.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know. I work 300 days a year. I don't understand why everyone else shouldn't too.
Well, because you're not taking bumps 300 days a year, Brian.
I'm also not making millions of dollars, John Cole.
He's got you there, Kevin Cole.
I can't argue with that. Let's move on.
Now, if I can, I was listening to Cornette's podcast this week. He was talking about, if you want to know what those old school guys thought, Ole Anderson rarely even so much as slept. And his comment was, I'm a booker. I think for a living, so I can't get a day off. If one of the boys says, hey, take me off the show in Winston-Salem tonight, he said, okay, I'll pull that boy off the show at Winston-Salem. He said, I've still got to book that card.
Yeah.
And Dusty Rhodes, Jim Cornette tells a funny story about one of the
I find it hard to believe Jim Cornette tells a funny story.
I just love that Steve popped himself before he even said anything.
About one of the Starcades or something, and Cornette had like one of his best friends getting married on the same day as this was going on. So Cornette goes to Dusty and he's like, Dusty, buddy, I got a wedding going on right about this same time. Dusty said, are they getting married in the middle of the Greensboro Coliseum? He said, because that's where your ass is going to be. So, I mean, Dusty, didn't miss a beat. Didn't miss a beat.
One of the worst things a human has ever told me, this is a different scenario, but it's similar at the same time. I had a boss underground one time. My son was born. He had to have some emergency surgery. And then 6 months later, we had to go back and do some more surgery. And I told him about it leading up to it. And I caught him on a bad day because I reminded him the week of, hey, I'm not going to be here this day because my son's having surgery. His response to me was, are you a doctor? Why do you got to be there? And I'm like, this cold-hearted son.
I'm telling you, if you guys haven't watched, you need to watch. These coal miners are making memes of each other.
Yeah.
You need to go and watch the one of my brother, who is a coal mine superintendent in Logan County. They have made a meme out of him. And he said,
he's talking. I see
yes,
that.
the one where he's talking. He said, tired, drink some of that hydraulic oil there. You be all right. And tape what's his name's finger back on. Well, we got coal to run
that's good.
You know,
and
so
that's
that's
it's accurate.
Same thing with wrestlers, you know. I mean, I respect that. I'm just saying with a glut of talent, you could mix it up a little bit, and I guess Rich and Brian be the only people in the world that even know.
Right. It's being reported that Fox is looking for WWE to put out a more edgier product, and they aren't looking to give in to WWE's current PC culture that dominates WWE programming.
Did you hear this? Eminem doing the new theme for Fox WWE.
Hold on. Before you get there, I did, but since you're on the subject, I'll go ahead and bring it up now. We'll kind of just intertwine the two. It was reported that Eminem signed on to help with the soundtrack for WWE 2K20 and a possible appearance on SmackDown. I wasn't sure about what you just mentioned. But Eminem's people are denying the report and saying they are threatening legal action against Sean Ross Sapp for breaking the story. So I'm not sure how much is there. I know a long time ago they reached out to Eminem for him to work with them, and he declined. So I don't know what's going on there, but it's interesting.
It is.
But
I don't know why you would pay Eminem all the money that he's asking for when he's less hot than he's ever been. That's my point, and is why would you waste the money? We have no use
because if
for
you're Vince
Eminem.
McMahon, you have the money to waste,
Vince McMahon probably thinks that Eminem is cutting edge somehow.
Who's that? Who's that rapper all the kids like?
Now, where's that white boy from Detroit? That rapper they all love.
God,
Eminem.
Well, I would rather have Eminem than Kid Rock.
Yeah.
So,
but
they did get Machine Gun
I'm
Kelly
not
a couple
saying
years
that having Eminem isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying I guarantee you it is very costly for nothing. I just don't understand what Eminem brings to the table.
Can I have your attention, please? Will a real Slim Shady please stand up?
And then here comes what's the dude he was beefing with? Machine Gun Kelly out of nowhere. Hits him with a chair. Next thing you know, ICP's coming through the crowd. They're on the top rope. I mean, it'd be great.
That's the only way it would make sense. Is if they bring in Machine Gun
Kelly to have a real life beef.
Then I stand corrected. I stand corrected if that happens. But other than that, I don't know why.
Hey, if Fox wants to edge your program, you put Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem out there at an unscripted rap battle with a 7-second delay.
I think it's obvious that WWE has already taken that information for the edgier product and applying it.
Yeah.
Because, for one, Fox is the meal ticket. Fox is the one that paid all the money. If you erase the Saudis, then Fox gave more money to the WWE than anybody else in the last couple of years. So,
Kenny
I feel
Dunn
like they're
says
do what they need.
Eminem, MGK, Hell in a Cell, WrestleMania 36.
Tampa, Florida will be there.
Brian, we're coming.
Book it.
We're coming.
Yeah,
how many matches are going to be on WrestleMania this year? Like 20?
Dude, I was in New Orleans last year, and it was like they were telling us to be there at 5:30. And I'm like, I'll be there at 5:30. I'll be doggone if the matches started. The doors opened at 5, and it started at 6. And I'm like, whoa,
that's crazy.
I remember walking into the building at the one Orlando, and I heard them announcing Austin Aries, and I was like, no, we got to get to our seats.
Right, that's exactly how it happened.
Ring of Honor's 17th anniversary show is Friday. You guys excited about that? You gonna be watching?
No.
You will be, Brian?
I will be. I'm pretty excited about. I'm a big fan of Matt Taven. So
the Briscoe brothers are good.
Matt Taven, wasn't he a Tough Enough winner? No, that's Maven.
No,
that's Maven. Sorry.
No.
Oh God!
For the 3rd week in a row, no.
Covey gets a Maven reference in on us. Go ahead.
It's being. I didn't read that. Jim Ross's contract expires with WWE on March 29th after 26 years with the company. I think this is huge because I think Jim Ross still has a lot of knowledge in that noodle of his, and he's obviously going to AEW with it. So it's interesting to see how that's going to affect. Because if anybody other than Bruce Pritchard or Pat Patterson know how Vince McMahon thinks, it's Jim Ross.
My God! Stone Cold!
He clotheslined him. He damn near broke him in half. I love it. I don't know if I want to see him commentating again. But
I don't.
I think it'd be a good
Did you
mind
not
to have
watch any
around.
of the New Japan stuff?
I know that's.
If you watch any of the New Japan stuff, if he goes out there and commentary, he's going to be absolutely clueless. He's not going to know anybody's name. He's not going to know what anybody's doing. I got respect for JR, but I couldn't possibly care any less that he's leaving the company and going to AEW. I don't think he's going to be any type of big deal for AEW. He's not going to help him at all. Like, I don't know what he can possibly do.
Maybe?
No.
I mean, honestly, when I was at that AEW event in Vegas, I did not expect Kenny Omega to show up. I thought it was going to be JR.
Really?
Like, I didn't think anybody big was going to show up. I was like, oh, they just did the thing, and Jericho came out, and all right. So I didn't expect it to be what it was. I thought it was going to be JR, but I didn't realize he was still under contract. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's
you walked right past you. You didn't say, Kenny, could you get my buddy John Covey Cole autograph.
He was a little busy at the moment.
When I saw him in New Orleans at WrestleCon last year, he was busy, so.
Ben Cliff says about WrestleMania, he says,
You
hey,
Yanks.
you Yanks can't moan. You get to watch Mania in the evening. Imagine being over here in the UK having to watch it from midnight till 5 a.m. and same for every pay-per-views. Hey, sorry, man.
Move to America, Ben.
I don't think
Brexit's really going to screw you guys over.
I don't think our leader will let him come over.
Really
I think he's kind of tightening up on them things. Anderson and Gallows are reportedly leaving WWE when their contracts are up in September. I think that'd be a great move for them because
I'm so sad.
They've been underutilized since they got there.
They have. They
really
could have put the Bullet Club or something. I'm sorry, Brian. I didn't mean to interrupt you. They could have put something along the lines of the Bullet Club back together
Easily.
And should have.
Either with AJ or with Finn. Either one.
Or both. You want to talk about having a hell of a group. You put AJ on one show, Finn on the other, and let Anderson and Gallows go back and forth, or get you another tag team. And you've got a group. You've got an MWO style group just run over everybody at that point.
What do I know? Split them up and push Carl Anderson to the freaking moon. That's what I'd do. There's no way I wouldn't keep Carl Anderson.
And Carl has actually mentioned that because they were like, "Why did you switch your trunks to being like teal or whatever they were?" And he was like, "Because I kind of want to be a singles. I need a big old heater behind me." And that could be Luke Gallows, and just so like they've actually put that out there before of like, hey, won't you push Carl and have Luke Gallows be his muscle?
That was the other good jab from the
the Randy Orton.
Good jab from the Randy Orton. Really? You never stole somebody else's something they did before?
Yeah. I think that I would split them up and make Carl a face and make Luke the heel, have them go at it for a while, and then send Carl Anderson to the moon.
Every time Gallows comes out, ring a bell, he go all to hell, beat somebody to death.
That would be great. Bring back Festus. I'd mark out.
I would
biscuits and gravy.
I would mark out if Gallows did that.
WWE Fastlane watch along with Pat McAfee and many WWE superstars was taken down from social media mainly in part because of Nigel McGuinness dropping the F-bomb after talent was told not to swear. I'm sorry. We've had it happen on the show here, Brian. You've done it. I've done it. I don't know if Rich, you've done it. I don't know if you've done it, Steve, but I know me and Brian has. When you get excited, sometimes it's hard.
Sure.
And when you're live,
just ask Booker T. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you. I mean, just ask Booker T if you can't get wrapped
My heart skipped a beat. I was like,
no, Steve, no. Don't do it, Steve.
No, I'm not.
It hurts.
I value my law license too much. But just, you're right. You get wrapped up in the moment. And these internet guys, I don't like McAfee's show very much or whatever they've got him doing.
You don't like McAfee?
Nope.
Why?
I don't know who Nigel McGuinness is. Sounds like one of Ben Cliff's friends from across the pond.
Are you kidding me, Steve? Did you just say you don't know who Nigel McGuinness is?
Who is Nigel McGuinness?
He was
Nigel
really
McGuinness
hot.
was one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He was the Kenny Omega of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Never heard of her.
Not for his medical issues.
What was his name in TNA?
Never heard of her.
What was his name in TNA?
Desmond Wolfe.
Desmond Wolfe. Did you ever see him?
He was the ROH
He's
World
great.
Heavyweight Champion. Nigel McGuinness. Oh, man.
And he got hepatitis. And then he had to...
Oh,
yeah.
You know what you need to do? Here's your homework, Steve. You need to go home on the network and watch the Nigel McGuinness story. They just put it out about a month ago.
Okay.
And it's absolutely amazing.
All right. I love those stories, those backstories.
Did you guys watch the Roman one? Anybody?
No.
I didn't either.
But I did watch the Nigel McGuinness, and the Nigel McGuinness
is it a good one?
It is. It's very good. It's very heartbreaking because
I got two things about that for you real quick. Is Nigel McGuinness was CM Punk and AJ Styles and Kenny Omega before they were considered the best in the world at their given times.
Bryan Danielson
and Bryan Danielson. Actually, Bryan Danielson is who he is because of Nigel McGuinness. If not for Nigel McGuinness, you probably wouldn't even know who Daniel Bryan is. Also, he wrestled his last match in West Virginia against T.J. Phillips.
Hang on, though. Big Cliff over here shooting on my buddy. He says, Steve New. I know that's not how you spell now. No, officially
British
just like
spelling.
you.
Yeah.
How could you do a wrestling podcast? This is a webcast, and not know. And you got it right that time. Who Nigel McGuinness is? Disgraceful.
Well, Nigel McGuinness is going to mean a lot more to Ben Cliff because Ben Cliff is from Europe. So Nigel McGuinness is like his Hulk Hogan or something.
I have a beef with what Steve just said too, Ben, but not for the same reason. Why don't you like Pat McAfee? Is it because he was a mountaineer and you was a martial guy for the most part?
Look, you follow. But by the way, all right,
Oh, there it is.
you're not
All
gonna
the
get
glasses
sponsored
came
on the
off.
Mountaineer Ramble as long as you follow Twitter idiots like herd haters. Mountaineer Ramble gonna follow idiots on Twitter like herd haters. You ain't getting a single dollar of mine, John Coffee Cole. I'll go back, Ben Cliff, and watch Nigel McGuinness, but he wasn't in the big leagues when I was watching wrestling. So sorry. I didn't watch minor league wrestling in the late 90s, early 2000s. I was trying to build a law practice.
I didn't want you to shoot on me. I was trying to find out why you like Pat McAfee. Is that why?
Man, Steve New just cut everybody to pieces. Just drop it. He just New 316 says he just whipped your ass.
All right, Steve already talked about this guy. Harlem Heat joins the Honky Tonk Man. Tori Wilson and DX for this year's Hall of Fame. I just got a notification that the rumored Taz going in is not going to happen. So
Good.
Well,
Now, there was a lot of social media chatter about are there tag teams more deserving and it should be in first than Harlem
I
Heat?
love Harlem Heat.
Rich Quick is saying yes. Rich, let us hear you.
the Bulldogs.
The
British
Steiner
Bulldogs.
brothers.
Okay?
The Steiner brothers.
Road Warriors got to be in, right?
Road Warriors
Yeah,
are.
I
Road
was gonna say
Warriors
they
have
gotta be
been
in
in,
already.
yeah.
I mean,
But the Steiner brothers should have totally been in. Before you put Booker T in the Hall of Fame twice, there's probably 20 tag teams that should go in the Hall of Fame before you put
So it's going to be
Booker T in twice.
Ric Flair and Booker T.
Booker T, the only
is
two-time
the only
Hall of Famers.
two-time.
until Triple H goes in twice.
And
Triple H
Shawn
will go in
Michaels.
3 times, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trips will go in.
Shawn Michaels, has he been in already?
No.
I don't think so.
He's not in solo, I don't think,
I don't
is
think
he?
he is either.
All right.
No,
Are we? Let's get our WCW, ECW thing. It's 8 o'clock, John.
But you know what? Wait. Harlem Heat does deserve to go in it. They were 10-time champs, and they do have a win over the Road Warriors. But go ahead.
Demolition. Kenny Dunn is exactly correct. Demolition isn't going to go in because the concussion lawsuit, and that's a shame because when you think about those guys and everything that they did going back to the Crusher Khrushchev and Superstar days back in the NWA with Bill Eadie and what's the old boy's name? He was the repo man. Doggone it, I just blanked on his real name.
I knew it until you asked me. But yeah.
Yeah, Bill Eadie was the superstar.
Before we get to our weekly topic, real quick, I don't want to spend too much time on it. Brian
Barry
brought this
Darsow.
to my
Barry
attention.
Darsow, thank you.
But I want to bounce around the table real quick. If you were booking it, Steve, Kurt Angle's retirement match at WrestleMania, who's he wrestling?
I mean, for me, it only makes sense to extend the problem that he's been having with Baron Corbin for about a year now. It's the only guy that makes any sense to me that you have him face because Resner's shaking his head no.
Well, hang on, Rez. We're going to get to you.
For me, and maybe it's because I'm wearing this stupid vest this evening, but you have him. Maybe it's because I'm wearing this stupid vest. You book him against Baron Corbin. God knows that's the only way.
Leave it to the hot topic guy to put the other
That's
hot
exactly
topic guy
right.
over.
Put him over.
Rich, who would you put up
him on a
against
night
Kurt
shift.
Angle?
We've mentioned a lot of the times about how we never want to see The Undertaker wrestle again. But it's like Kurt Angle is not going to win his last match. He shouldn't. That's the way
Ric
it goes.
Flair didn't.
You go out on your back. You go out putting somebody over. So
Shawn Michaels didn't.
yeah, so I don't know. I really don't care at this point just because I don't think now what they could have done was, and what they actually should have done is they're in Pittsburgh, right? Elias is out there running down the crowd, singing songs about Pittsburgh. why didn't Kurt Angle's music start, and why didn't Kurt Angle come out and take care of Elias
and then make the announcement after the match?
Yeah.
That would have been a much better angle.
But it's like, oh, Elias just runs down the city and then leaves, and then Kurt Angle shows up later. I'm like, you got two Pittsburgh guys.
So are you saying Elias should be the guy?
Well, I think he could have been, and he's a young guy that needs to wrestle a match every once in a while and go over. So, yeah, I'll say Elias.
I'm going to say Baron Corbin as well,
Rich.
not because I like Baron Corbin, but it makes sense. And he's got to put him over on his way out, like you guys mentioned. I thought about John Cena because that's where John Cena got his start, was with Kurt Angle. But John Cena don't need the win there.
That's a good angle.
Yeah.
Start your career wrestling John Cena, end your career.
John Cena's my pick. I feel like he's the only one that can give Kurt the match that he needs. If anybody, if you take say you take Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, now let's result them to Kurt Angle and his Shawn Michaels. Kurt Angle's Shawn Michaels is John Cena. Yeah. And we need a spot for John Cena. John Cena needs a spot at WrestleMania. So to me, John Cena is the obvious choice.
What kind of spot?
A liver spot.
That's twice.
Not a dog
How much
spot.
longer, Steve? You think we get 2 more in?
We could try.
Bo Diddley says Bobby Roode or EC3. That could work. Kenny Dunn says Cena.
But I'm assuming that from Impact TNA, Angle and Roode have history, right?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They got big history.
100%.
I mean,
but not history that the WWE's willing to talk about.
I know, but I mean, kind of like smart fans like us, though, we know that they have history.
Jason Heiser says got to be Brock. Are you smoking something? I think Brock's wrestling Seth Rollins.
Brock would be great, but it's not going to work out. I mean, Brock would be perfect, but it's not going to work out that way.
Yeah, but.
Oh, speaking of, real quick, what do you think about? Is there anything more to this of Shelton Benjamin coming out with Paul Heyman?
I don't think a lot of the fans out there understand the backstory there. There's a lot of backstory with Shelton Benjamin and Brock Lesnar.
Well, Heyman touched on it briefly the other night, but didn't get a whole lot of the backstory. I liked that. You don't know is Jason Jordan retires his
Kenny Dunn.
You win. Hey, you know what?
I'm Kenny Dunn right now. All right, I'm done.
We can laugh all we want about Kenny Dunn's comment, but Kenny Dunn's comment is exactly where we would have went if Jason Jordan wasn't hurt, and it would have been awesome if Jason Jordan wouldn't have been hurt and basically ended his career. That's exactly what we would have got at WrestleMania.
Ben's all hell, Steve. Ben is all to hell. Steve knew.
You'd have thought I slept with Ben's mom or something. I'm telling you. I've never been to the UK in my life.
You might not have slept with his mom, but I bet Nigel McGuinness did. Oh.
He's gonna buy a plane ticket and fly to Beckley, West Virginia and put my honey in.
That's a
Nigel's
just how big old boy are you anyway?
That's a roar, Dave Berser. Sorry. Let's go ahead and move on, guys. Sorry.
That one tickled me.
And just think,
Rich tickled over here.
We almost had Derek here tonight, too. Imagine if he would have got here. We wouldn't have got anything here tonight.
Me and Derek would be wrestling over there on the floor once I'd besmirched. Is that a good Brit word for you, Ben? Besmirch? Okay, so I'm going to go home. I promised my friend Brian Resner I'd watch the Nigel McGuinness show on the network. So I'm sorry for besmirching your beloved Nigel McGuinness.
All right, guys, so here we go. This is our main topic for the week, even though we've got to a bunch of other stuff. What WCW, ECW wrestler would you have loved to have seen in WWE that you never did? We're not going to spend too much time here because we've been here a long time. I got a few more things I want to get to. Steve, I'm going to start with you.
Very, very simply, the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan. I think Kevin Sullivan, in the time that he was in, not so much for his wrestling abilities, because he was never the greatest wrestler ever, but man, that mind. He stole a lot of other people's gimmicks from the Satanism angle that he did down in Florida. Crockett's never would let him get by with the Satanism angle, so he did the Varsity Club, and then that whole Dungeon of whatever in WCW.
It was Doom. Dungeon of Doom.
That's what I thought.
Not the whatever.
Dungeon of the whatever. You know what it is.
Right.
Now you're besmirching the Dungeon of Doom?
Well, yes.
You're just one besmirching
fool.
Besmirching fool tonight. What is going on?
I think Kevin Sullivan was a guy and I think Vince would have loved that crazy mind of his.
I think it would have been interesting.
Only man I ever know that booked himself out of a marriage too. So we see how that ended.
Oh, too soon.
You know, he got a victory over Andre the Giant too.
Yeah.
Not many people got a victory over the Andre the Giant, but Kevin Sullivan pulled a victory over Andre the Giant when Vince Sr. ran the WWE, and from what I understand, that it made Vince Sr. absolutely hate Kevin Sullivan because he sent Andre over there to work, and he came back with a loss. And he was so mad.
Rich Quick, who would you have liked to have seen in WWE?
Well, it should have happened. It never did. Now, these people were all there.
These people?
It's a group.
Oh.
The Triple Threat. Yes. The franchise Shane Douglas, as he was in ECW, was the greatest champion in the world. And put Chris Candido and Bam Bam with him. Triple threat.
Wow.
That
you are speaking to my very soul and heart.
Wow.
you
Rich Quick. That is awesome, man. That is awesome.
What sucks about that is I feel like Vince would have ruined it.
Well, he did. He made him the Dean Douglas, and then Skip.
Triple Threat also.
I'm gonna the franchise Shane Douglas was my pick because we did see Dean Douglas, but we didn't see the franchise, and we should have seen the franchise Shane Douglas in WWE. But when you say that the whole Triple Threat should have came, literally the hairs on my arm standing up. Like that is exactly yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
I'm not that very educated, as some of you guys may or may not know.
You know.
What is the definition of franchise? The word franchise.
The franchise is his.
I know moniker. That, Brian. I'm talking about the actual
word.
Well,
if you're talking about
you do run the Hot Topic, so I'm sure it's franchise. So
well, actually, they're company-owned stores, but I digress. In the restaurant business, it means that everything will be done uniformly. You got to have permission from company.
But that's
now in the way that Shane Douglas used it. It's more like the franchise tag gets used in the NFL as we've got the draft coming up. That you get a franchise tag for the NFL now because you are the single most key player on that 53-person roster.
So,
and that's why the NFL uses the franchise tag.
That's where I was confused. I was thinking that where he was the franchise.
You thought he was like a Chick-fil-A?
No, I thought he was. I thought he was.
They only give two or three of them out to a play. Ask Richard Gerald.
Labeled as the franchise of ECW, therefore he could not be the franchise of WCW or.
You know that Paulie wasn't paying intellectual property lawyers to trademark the franchise.
He should have, and Sting wouldn't have stolen because Sting called himself the franchise, and he was always a second-rate franchise in my eyes because
you just mad at Sting because you broke your boy's neck. Quit picking on Sting.
No, he also stole Shane Douglas's gimmick, and that was crap.
He also stole the gimmick of the Crow, but we ain't talking about that.
And the Joker.
Yeah.
And
okay, Rich, quick, since you're on the page with me, can you imagine what kind of feud you could have seen between the Game Triple H and the franchise Shane Douglas?
That would have been great.
Incredible.
That would have.
But
hair versus hair match.
And now I told you when we started this show that I picked one from ECW and one from WCW. My WCW pick was Vampiro at the top of his game, not drunken doing Lucha Underground commentary Vampiro, but Vampiro at the very top of his game. If he would have jumped ship and went to the WWE, that would have been awesome. Seeing a Vampiro Undertaker feud would have been great.
Yeah,
Vampiro! Vampiro!
Who's that, Oklahoma?
Vampiro!
Oklahoma?
You are 100% correct, Brian Resner. Vampiro was amazing, and the potential that we could have seen, like you said, with an Undertaker match. Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Or if he would have been involved in the Brood storyline with Gangrel and all that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's so much you could have done with Vampiro.
The Brood trying to bring Vampiro in, and like him rejecting them like an evil.
Like, bitch, I'm a real vampire.
Right, I'm a real vampire. I'm not one of you fake vampires spitting blood over there, Gangrel.
All right, you guys ready to hear my pick?
Yes.
My pick would have been the Yeti. No, I'm kidding, not really. I was bouncing around. I had a couple of them here I was thinking about. I'm also going to give two, but I'm going to give two different ones.
Well, thank God you're not giving two of the same.
Two different ones than what you guys picked is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Good.
I didn't explain enough. Sorry. I'm going to pick the Great Muta. I think that would have been great. Muta. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this
also would have been great against The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one I'm going to do is from ECW, which I think he was at WCW too, but the Sinister Minister James Mitchell, I think would have been a great heel manager in WWE to.
Yeah, he would have.
I think it's a shame that the WWE doesn't use more managers in a managerial role for guys who can't talk.
I've been saying that for years.
I'm telling you, because if you think about WWF in the 70s and the 80s, I mean, WWF in the 80s had great managers. They had more great managers than they had great talent. I'm telling you, just name them all off. They had
Captain
fantastic.
Lou, Bobby Heenan.
You know, and it was guys.
And then they had Slick.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, do we all agree that the Great Muta was a great pick?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, real quick, can we go around and say, who would you have wanted to see Muta face?
I always said, Undertaker.
Undertaker, yeah.
What about you?
Or maybe Mankind. Mankind Muta would have been great.
Bret Hart.
That's where I was
Bret
going.
the Hitman Hart versus
Can you
the Great
imagine
Muta
how
would be
good?
a fantastic
Oh,
wrestling
my God.
match.
Bret Hart and the Great Muta, or Shawn Michaels and the Great Muta. Either one would have been tremendous. Actually, I think the Great Muta could have accomplished what they wanted to accomplish with Hakushi because he was bigger.
Was that Kaz Hayashi?
No, Hakushi.
Remember Kaz Hayashi? You guys remember him? No?
Indeed.
All right, guys, we've been here long enough. Before we get out of here, I'm going to throw a couple shows going on this weekend. You got WVCW in Bluefield, Luck of the Draw. They always put on a good show over there. And also this weekend, you got IWA. That's not this weekend. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, St. Patty's Day Melee.
This weekend, you got two shows going on. This is locally here in West Virginia. But one I'm really excited
Who's the guy
about,
from Impact on that show?
Crocodile
They look
Dundee
like the Outbacker.
You got,
Outhouse Jack.
got the Gift Kincaid and Chance Prophet on there, I see him.
Who's in the middle?
I'm not sure who that guy is. His name's Impact. Can't you see right there?
I honestly don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either.
Not sure either.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. Here in about a month, Steve, you're responsible for a lot of this going on, but the Midnight Express is coming to town.
Yes. The Midnight Express is going to be inducted into the ASW Hall of Fame. They're going to have a Mikey Whipwreck.
Woody Numbers.
I'm sorry, I've read Mikey Whipwreck and had Mikey Whipwreck on my Woody Numbers Battle Royal.
I was thinking they're going to have two battle royals. This is going to be great.
No. And Hustler Rip Rogers, a guy that I enjoyed from my youth with the ICW wrestling, ran some great angles with Macho Man Randy Savage. And
I got to tell you a quick funny story on how I learned about Rip Rogers because I'm not familiar with a lot of stuff that happened back then. We was talking about Pat McAfee earlier. You said you're not a big fan of his show. That's where I found Rip Rogers because he trained Pat McAfee in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Dude's hilarious.
He is hilarious. He's inducted to Midnight Express then. But guys, come down. It's going to be a great show top to bottom. West Virginia's blessed with a lot of really, really great independent wrestling in the state. We for a state our size.
Have you seen Gary's jacket he's going to wear to the show?
Yes.
It's, you got to go just to see the jacket, guys.
All right. It's a Bobby the Brain
Got the
Heenan
Golden
style.
Girls on it?
What is it?
They don't have the Golden Girls on it? Gary's a huge Golden Girls fan.
He is. Like my daughter, Rebecca, who just turned 16, by the way.
I heard she killed it in the Mary Poppins, by the way.
Killed it, if I have to say so myself. But anyway, yeah, it's great being here with you guys.
Yeah, man, have a good time. Next week, Steve, you gonna be back? We'll see.
Yes, to be determined. I'm not sure.
What about Rich Quick? Are you going to grace us with your presence next week?
Yeah, I could. I might. I probably will.
Well, this is going to be the topic next week, gentlemen. Brian, you going to be back, ain't you?
I will.
All right. I want your buddy Tyree to go out to the Walmarts and get a left side earpiece next week. I want you to have 2 microphones and 2 earmuffs on your head.
Nice.
I miss you, Rez.
I did too, man.
I miss you guys too.
Yeah.
The hell's the topic?
Next week. Rich said, I'm not getting in my feels. Let's keep this moving.
That's right.
Next week on the show, guys, if the NWO only had 5 members, who should they have been? I'm pretty sure there's going to be 3 on here that we all agree with, but the other 2 is going to be interesting. Because I'm sure we can all agree they had
Horace Hogan and Virgil.
That's right.
That's the ones, obviously.
Virgil.
Vincent, rather.
You know what? What's funny is I actually heard Eric Bischoff answer this question the other day on 83 Weeks when they did the Q&A where everybody was like sending questions in. And they asked Eric Bischoff that exact question. I don't know if that's where you got it from. I'm guessing you didn't get it from there. But
no, because I don't sell other people's stuff, Brian.
His answer was very interesting. I enjoyed it, and I thought about it myself. So I kind of already have one of these loaded. So I'm excited for next week. It's gonna be really good.
Okay, point of clarification. I've spent 55 days of the last 60 at the West Virginia Legislature. Point of order.
I ain't got no gavel. So.
Point of order. NWO Black and White, is the Wolfpack included? How far is the LWO? Can I pick from the LWO, the OWN?
Does that look like the Wolfpack, Steve?
Okay. Point. I needed clarification.
Man, maybe that's another thing we should throw on top of that. What 3 guys should have been in the Wolfpack?
Oh, God. That's we have enough trouble because there were, about 176 members of the NWO?
Something like that.
So.
Got enough. I don't know. Somebody, and it might have been my friend from, there he is, Ben Cliff from the UK, putting over La Parka, the chairman of the WCW.
He's still wrestling, man.
Yeah. L.A. Park now.
Yeah, L.A. Park.
L.A. Park now?
Yeah, he can't be La Parka.
Does WWE own that name?
No, I think AAA.
Really?
Yeah, so he's L.A. Park.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's great.
We still know who he is.
Yep.
I need to bring him to Madison.
That'd be great. Oh, yeah.
The chairman of Madison, West Virginia.
What about, did you guys see where Jushin Thunder Liger is retiring next year?
I saw that.
Yeah.
Let's have him face Kurt Angle. That would be fucking great.
No, I want to. There's the one I knew was coming. And I got y'all comfortable over there.
I'm totally going to get yelled at after the show. I knew I was going to because I said shit like 4 times earlier.
It was 5 times.
Yeah,
sorry,
it's YouTube.
John.
It's
Don't kick me off the show, man.
Was the one with the finger up the butt angle. Did you see that? It was
No,
a whole.
I don't think so.
Have you seen that?
The whole line of people in the ring.
It's an 8-man tag, and some guy runs over, sticks his finger up Liger's butt. And then the next guy gets in the ring and sticks his finger up that guy's butt.
Yeah, maybe he
and
was
then
in that.
They walk, and Jushin Thunder Liger twists them all over via
Kinda
the
like
thumb
Joey Ryan's.
up. Kind of like that, but it was a thumb up the butt.
Yeah, how did Cornette feel about that?
I never talked to Jim about it. I'm sure I know already though.
Can we just pretend that wasn't Liger?
Yeah, let's pretend.
If you sleep better at night knowing that Jushin Thunder Liger did not do that maneuver, that's fine.
Last thing before we get out of here, I'm going to start. Who should be Liger's last match? I'm going to start and say Brian Pillman Jr. I think that'd be great.
Oh, if Brian Pillman could go. If Brian Pillman Jr. could go like that, I would agree with you.
First match I ever seen was Pillman Jr. and Jushin Thunder Liger, so I would love to
Pillman
see
Sr.
that.
Yeah, Pillman Sr. And I would say Jericho.
That'd be good too.
I'd say Jericho.
I honestly don't know. I mean, like, where is he? Is Liger affiliated with any certain organization at the moment?
I think it's going to be at the Tokyo Dome in Wrestle
New
Kingdom.
Japan.
Oh, well then, one of the many fine gentlemen in Japan. Yeah.
Maybe Ben Cliff says he would pick Nigel McGuinness. Brian Resner, who would you pick to face Liger in his last match?
There's so many people that you could pick. I really love your idea, John Covey Cole. If somehow we could put Brian Pillman Jr. in the hyperbolic time chamber and make him a really good wrestler by then it would be awesome. But since that's not a possibility, honestly, I would even. I mean, do I have to pick somebody that it could be?
Anybody. I mean, even if there's
there's no chance.
Don't hinder you.
There's no chance it's going to be this guy, but I'd love to see it be Rey Mysterio Jr. because I think the two of them would complement each other very well. But since that couldn't happen, I'd like to see Great Muta do it.
Yeah.
All right, there you go, guys. We've been here for an hour and a half, it appears.
Pillman Jr. can go. If you haven't had a chance to watch him wrestle, he's almost there. He wrestled in MLW.
Pillman Jr. can't go with Liger, man.
Well, he can't go with Liger yet, but I'm saying another year.
I bet you if Brian Pillman Jr. was right now on this show talking to us, he would say, I'm not on that level yet. I mean, because I wouldn't want that for him. Can you imagine being the guy who tried to recreate one of your father's greatest matches of all time? I mean, that's a tall order for a rookie.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to put that on him. To be honest, I mean, not saying anything bad about Brian Pillman Jr. What he's doing in MLW is really entertaining.
Yeah.
And he is going to be awesome, and I'm 100% behind him. But to put that kind of pressure on him right now, I think would be more harmful than helpful.
Another 8 months down the road, so why not?
Who knows?
There you go. Look here. Before we left the show, Steve New. Ben says, Steve New, you just regained my love after mentioning MLW. You are forgiven.
The Royal Ramble, we bring people together.
Well, do.
Exactly tear them apart, and then we bring them back together.
Be careful. You're going to get your feels again. We better keep it moving.
Well, I guarantee you when Steve New comes back next week, he's going to be a Nigel McGuinness fan because when you watch that documentary, you will find out why you don't know who Nigel McGuinness is and how if things would have been different, he would have been one of the top people on your list of people that you love.
And he might have had a lawsuit on his hands. I'm not sure. He might.
Kenny Dunn says he's going to put Funaki with Liger for his last match. Okay. Guys, it's been a lot of fun tonight. Rich, it was great to have you back. Steve, it's always nice to see you. Brian, like I said, get your buddy to get that other headpiece next week. We'll be in business.
I'll let Dave Tyree know.
Get a twofer, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, Steve.
Once again, these headphones are sponsored by the most electrifying man in Florida, Dave Tyree.
He gets 2 plugs on the show.
Buy a heat pump from him. Off stream, baby.
Anyway, for Steve New, Rich Quick, Brian Resner, Derek Jones, where the hell he's at. I'm John Covey Cole, guys. Until next time, ramble on.
Ramble on.
Woohoo!
Good show, boys.
Yeah, it was a good one.